For centuries, we have looked to the stars with a trembling sort of reverence, convinced that the greatest mysteries of existence lie in the vacuum of space. We build telescopes to peer into the edges of the universe, searching for life, for origin, for meaning. But we have been looking in the wrong direction. The true abyss is not above us. It is below. There's a patch of ocean in the western North Atlantic, a geometric scar on the face of the planet that has swallowed more steel, more souls, and more history than any war zone in the region. 500,000 square miles. A graveyard of ambition. A place where the laws of physics seem to bend, where the compass, that ancient instrument of human certainty, begins to lie. We call it the Devil's Triangle. We call it the limbo of the lost, but names are just masks we put on things we are too terrified to understand. For decades, the narrative has been one of superstition. We whispered about extraterrestrial abductions, about tears in the fabric of time, about the lost technology of Atlantis dragging ships to the bottom. It was easier to believe in magic than to accept that the Earth itself possesses violent, hidden mechanisms that we are only just beginning to comprehend. The human ego hates a vacuum. We hate the unexplained. So we filled the silence of the Bermuda Triangle with ghosts. But the ghosts are clearing. The fog is lifting. And what we are finding underneath is not magic. It is something far more awe-inspiring and far more terrifying. It is the raw, unbridled architecture of the planet asserting its dominance over us. Consider the arrogance of modern man. We believe we have tamed the elements. We build ships of iron and Titan engines. We construct aircraft that can pierce the sound barrier. We look at a map and say, I know this place. But the triangle is the reminder that we know nothing. When Flight 19 vanished in 1945, 5 Navy bombers, 14 men, erased from existence on a clear day, it wasn't just a tragedy. It was a shattering of the illusion of control. The rescue plane sent after them? Gone. No debris. No oil slick. Just the silence of the water. For 70 years, that silence has mocked us. But now, technology has finally caught up to the mystery. We are stripping away the water with sonar. We are analyzing the atmosphere with high-resolution satellite imagery. And the data coming back is rewriting the textbooks on oceanography and meteorology. The first revelation comes from the sky. Meteorologists analyzing satellite imagery over the triangle have identified a phenomenon that defies the conventional behavior of clouds. They are finding strange hexagonal formations, clouds with straight edges. In nature, chaos usually reigns. Clouds are amorphous, soft, rolling. They do not form geometric shapes. But here, over the Bahama Islands, over the heart of the abyss, we see hexagons. These aren't just clouds. They are air bombs. Scientists have discovered that these formations act as massive engines for microbursts. They channel wind down from the upper atmosphere like a celestial hammer, striking the ocean surface at speeds of up to 170 miles per hour. This is not a gale. This is a blast wave. When that column of air hits the water, it spreads out explosively, creating waves 40, 50 feet high in an instant. Imagine you are a pilot. You are flying through calm skies. Suddenly, the air itself collapses around you. The wind shear tears the winds off your fuselage before your brain can even register the turbulence. Or imagine you are a captain of a freighter. The sea is flat. Then, out of the darkness, a wall of wind creates a localized hurricane that exists for minutes, only to vanish as quickly as it formed. No distress signal can be sent when the atmosphere turns into a weapon. This explains the suddenness. It explains the lack of warning. It is nature's hidden artillery, firing blindly into the dark. But the wind is only the catalyst. The true monster, the one that accounts for the vanishing of massive vessels like the USS Cyclops, 19,000-ton collier with 309 crewmen that disappeared without a trace lives in the hydrodynamics of the water itself. We used to believe that rogue waves, massive walls of water, twice the size of surrounding waves, were myths. Sailors' tall tales, mathematical impossibilities. We were wrong. In the Bermuda Triangle, the conditions are perfectly engineered to manufacture these nightmares. You have the Gulf Stream, a massive, warm ocean current that flows like a river within the sea, moving faster than some rivers on land. It cuts through the triangle with immense kinetic energy. Now, picture a storm front moving north, driving waves against the current of the Gulf Stream. When the energy of the storm collides head-on with the energy of the current, the result is constructive interference. The waves don't just crash. They stack. They climb upon one another's backs, rising out of the ocean floor like liquid mountains. Scientists have simulated these conditions. They have found that in the triangle, a rogue wave can reach heights of 100 feet. A vertical wall of water. It doesn't look like a wave. It looks like the horizon has stood up. If a ship, even a massive tanker, is caught in the trough of such a wave, it doesn't sink slowly. It is snapped in half. It is driven under by millions of tons of pressure in seconds. This creates a terrifying clarity. The ships didn't go to another dimension. They were crushed by the specific violent convergence of wind and current. The triangle is a factory for disaster. A unique geographical choke point where the Earth's circulatory system goes to war with its atmosphere. But this is only the surface. Literally. The wind explains the planes. The rogue waves explain the ships. But neither explains the magnetic anomalies. Neither explains the reports of boiling water and the glowing white light seen by Columbus himself when he first crossed these waters in 1492. To understand that, we have to drain the ocean. We have to look at the topography of the seafloor. Because the geology of the Bermuda Triangle is hiding a secret far more volatile than wind or water. Deep beneath the surface. On the continental shelves, scientists are finding massive craters, scars in the seabed. Some of these are half a mile wide and hundreds of feet deep. For years, they were assumed to be impact craters from ancient meteors or sinkholes formed by collapsing caves. But the chemistry didn't add up. Recent expeditions in similar waters, particularly in the Barents Sea, have provided the key to the lock. These aren't impact craters. They are exit wounds the Earth breathes. And in the Bermuda Triangle, it breathes methane. Buried under the sediment, frozen in a high-pressure lattice of ice and gas, lie vast reserves of methane hydrates. It is a ticking time bomb of potential energy. When the pressure changes due to shifting tectonic plates or warming waters, this fire ice destabilizes. It doesn't just melt, it sublimates. It expands explosively, turning from solid to gas in a fraction of a second. Imagine a bubble of methane gas, the size of a mountain, erupting from the seafloor. It rushes toward the surface, expanding as the pressure decreases. When it breaches the surface, it turns the ocean into a froth, a pit of white water. In that moment, the specific gravity of the sea drops. The density that allows a steel hull to float is instantly erased. Archimedes' principle, the law that has kept sailors alive for millennia, is suspended. A ship caught in this erasure doesn't sink in the traditional sense. It falls. It plummets through the water as if it were falling through thin air. The ocean floor rushes up to meet it, and within moments, the sediment swallows it whole. No debris floats to the surface because the vessel was intact when it hit the bottom, entombed instantly by the shifting sands of the continental shelf. This is the terror of the natural world. It doesn't need malice to destroy you. It only needs physics. The disappearances that we attributed to sea monsters or alien beings are simply the result of the Earth venting its lungs. But if the water is a trap, the air is a labyrinth. We must speak of the compass. For the explorer, the compass is more than a tool. It is a tether to reality. It is the objective truth in a world of subjective chaos. When you are surrounded by nothing but blue horizon, that needle pointing north is the only thing convincing your brain that you are not lost in an infinite void. However, the Bermuda Triangle is one of the few places on Earth where the compass commits the ultimate betrayal. It points to true north, not magnetic north. To the uninitiated, this sounds like a technicality. To a navigator, it is a catastrophe. The agonic line, an invisible meridian where magnetic and geographic north align, passes through this region. If a pilot or captain does not compensate for this variation, if they rely on the instinct that has guided them elsewhere, they will drift off course by 10, 15, 20 degrees. Over a vast distance, 20 degrees is the difference between finding land and vanishing into the open Atlantic until your fuel runs dry. Imagine the psychological horror of that moment. You are flying. Your instruments tell you that you are on the correct heading. You trust the machine. You trust the geometry. But the world outside the window stops matching the map. Islands that should be there are missing. The coastline never appears. This is where the triangle claims its most vulnerable victims, not through storms, but through the disintegration of the human mind. We often forget that the most fragile component of any vehicle is not the engine, nor the wings, nor the hull. It is the operator. When the external world stops making sense, the internal world collapses. This is spatial disorientation. In aviation, it is called the leans. Your inner ear betrays you. You feel like you are flying level, but you are in a slow, banking turn toward the water. In the case of Flight 19, the transcripts reveal men who were not just lost, but cognitively broken. Everything looks wrong, they said. The ocean doesn't look as it should. They were experienced pilots, yet they succumbed to a collective panic, induced by a discrepancy between their instruments and their reality. This is the electronic fog that survivors speak of. Not a mystic energy field, but a total sensory failure. When the compass spins, when the radio fills with static caused by the massive electrical storms common in the region, the human brain enters a state of high beta arousal. Panic. The prefrontal cortex shuts down. Rational decision-making evaporates. The pilot begins to hallucinate. The horizon blends with the sea. Up becomes down. The triangle doesn't just hide the land. It hides the sky. And in that confusion, we drive ourselves into the grave. So, we have the wind that acts like a hammer, the waves that rise like walls, the gas that turns the sea into a pit, and the magnetic anomalies that blind our instruments. But why does this matter? Why are we, in 2025, still obsessed with these stories? Why do we dissect the tragedy of the Cyclops or the Star Tiger? Because the Bermuda Triangle is not just a geographical location. It is a philosophical mirror. It represents the uncomfortable truth that our dominance over this planet is a fragile negotiation, not a permanent conquest. We build our civilizations on the assumption of stability. We assume the ground will hold us, the air will support us, and the north will always be north. We build our lives the same way. We assume our careers are stable, our health is guaranteed, our time is abundant. That the triangle is the harsh reminder that stability is an illusion. It shows us that the environment, whether it is the Atlantic Ocean or the economy, or the shifting landscape of modern society, can change its rules without warning. We are like those captains, steering our ships of state, our businesses, our lives, relying on maps drawn in a previous era. We are looking at compasses that no longer point where we think they do. We are sailing over methane fields of hidden risk, unaware that the density of our support system could vanish in a heartbeat. The scientists unraveling the triangle are teaching us a lesson far more valuable than meteorology. They are teaching us about adaptation. The creatures that survive in the deep ocean, in the pressure and the dark, do not survive by fighting the water. They survive by becoming one with the pressure. They are fluid. They are resilient. The captains who survive the rogue waves are the ones who respect the ocean's power, who read the subtle shifts in the swell, who do not arrogantly plow forward, but adjust their course when the horizon stands up. This is the pivot point. We have stripped the magic away from the mystery, and what we are left with is a challenge. The Bermuda Triangle is not a place to be feared. It is a place to be studied. It is the ultimate testing ground. If we can understand the chaotic forces at work in the Devil's Triangle, we can understand the chaotic forces at work in our own lives. The science of the extreme is the guide to mastering the routine. So, how do we navigate the storms? How do we keep our ship afloat when the water turns to froth? The answer lies not in better technology, but in a fundamental shift in mindset. It requires us to adopt the thinking of the Stoics, the resilience of the explorers, and the adaptability of the scientist. It requires us to stop looking for ghosts and start looking at the data, because the greatest danger is not the wave you see coming. It is the one you believe arrogantly, foolishly cannot exist. Asterisk, there is a coordinate on the map of your own life where the signal dies. A place where your ambition enters, but never leaves. We look at the Bermuda Triangle with horror because it devours steel and flesh. But there is a far more tragic triangle existing right now, in the architecture of your daily existence. It is the geometric space between your intention, your action, and your result. How many ideas have you launched that vanished without a trace? How many plans have you piloted into the open water, only to be swallowed by the silence? You are not fighting rogue waves of water. You are fighting rogue waves of resistance. You are fighting the air bombs of distraction that strike from above, invisible and violent, shattering your focus before you can even engage the throttle. Napoleon Hill, the great architect of success, spoke of a force he called hypnotic rhythm. He described it as a cosmic habit, a natural law that solidifies our thoughts into permanent reality. But he also warned of the drift. The Gulf Stream that cuts through the Atlantic is a physical manifestation of the drift. It is a current so powerful that if a ship turns off its engines, it does not stay still. It moves. It is carried away, miles off course, while the captain sleeps. Most of you are sleeping at the wheel. You believe that because you are not moving backward, you are safe. But you are floating in a current of mediocrity that is moving you away from your destination at 5 knots an hour. You are drifting toward the reefs. And by the time you wake up, by the time the electronic fog of your comfort zone clears, you are already shipwrecked. The science of the triangle teaches us that survival is an active state. Asterisk. When the magnetic field shifts, the passive observer dies. The active navigator calculates. The pilot who survives the leans that sensory betrayal, where up feels like down, is the one who ignores his feelings and trusts his instruments. What are your instruments? In a world of deep fakes, algorithmic manipulation, and economic volatility, your feelings are liars. Your fear is a liar. Your anxiety is a liar. They are the magnetic anomalies pulling your needle 10 degrees off course. You must build an internal gyroscope that is immune to the storm. The Stoics called this the inner citadel. It is a fortress of principles that does not shift when the market crashes, that does not crack when the criticism comes, that does not waver when the methane gas of public opinion turns the ground beneath you into a sinkhole. If you do not have a coda hard, written set of laws that govern your life, you are flying blind in a thunderstorm. Think of the USS Cyclops. 19,000 tons of steel. Vanished. Why? Because size does not equal safety. You can build a massive business, a massive reputation, a massive ego. But if you encounter a constructive interference, wave a moment where your personal flaws stack on top of external crisis, you will snap in half just as easily as that collier did in 1918. Asterisk structure without flexibility is a death sentence. Modern world is entering a period of high turbulence. We are seeing the weather patterns of history shift. The geopolitical plates are grinding. The economic currents are changing speed. The old maps are useless if you try to navigate 2025 with the mindset of 2015. You are using a compass that points to a north that no longer exists. You must become the scientist of your own abyss. You must stop looking at your failures as bad luck or curses. Stop creating ghosts to explain your lack of progress. Strip away the superstition. Analyze the wreckage. Why did that project fail? Was it the wind of the market? Or was it the structural weakness of your discipline? Why did that relationship sink? Was it a rogue wave? Or was it the slow, silent leak of resentment you ignored for years? The ocean is unforgiving, but it is honest. It gives you exactly what you prepare for. If you sail a paper boat into a hurricane, the ocean is not evil for destroying it. It is simply being the ocean. Life is the same. It is not punishing you. It is testing your structural integrity. The mystery of the Bermuda Triangle is not that ships disappear. It is that some ships make it through. Every day, vessels cross that patch of ocean. They face the same currents, the same winds, the same magnetic deviation. But they arrive. They arrive because their captains are awake. They arrive because they respect the danger, but do not fear it. They arrive because they make constant, micro-adjustments to their course, battling the drift every single second. You are the captain. This is your watch. The fog is rolling in, and the barometer is dropping. Are you going to drift? Or are you going to command the ship? The abyss is waiting. But so is the horizon. Drive the ship. But navigation is not just about survival. It is about alchemy. We fear the rogue wave because it destroys. But remember the physics. That wave is created by constructive interference. Energy stacking upon energy. The same mechanism that creates a 100-foot wall of water to crush a tanker is the exact same mechanism required to build a monumental life. You want the massive success? You want the empire? Then you must engineer your own constructive interference. Look at the titans of history. Look at Thomas Edison. He wasn't just a man tinkering with filaments. He was a force of nature navigating a Bermuda Triangle of failure. 10,000 times, the experiment went dark. 10,000 times, the methane of public doubt tried to sink him. He was operating in a fog where no map existed. But Edison understood the law of accumulation. He knew that every failure was a wave of energy. Most people let those waves crash against them, wearing them down. Edison aligned them. He stacked the lesson of experiment 1000 on top of experiment 1001. He created a constructive interference of knowledge until snap the wave crested. The light turned on. The darkness broke. This is what Henry Ford did when he dismantled the entire concept of craftsmanship to build the assembly line. The current of the world said cars were luxury toys for the rich. Ford drove his vision against that current. The friction was immense. The turbulence was violent. But he didn't turn back. He used the pressure to forge a new reality. These men didn't avoid the triangle. They built their castles inside it. They understood that the hexagonal clouds, the air bombs of life, are actually pockets of opportunity. When the market crashes, when the air drops out of the economy, the average man panics. He sees destruction. The master sees a vacuum. And nature abhors a vacuum. The master dives into the crash, knowing that the microburst clears the playing field. It wipes out the weak, the pretenders, the drifters. It leaves the ocean empty for the one captain brave enough to throttle forward when everyone else is sending distress signals. This is the secret the scientists are finding in the deep. The Bermuda Triangle isn't a cursed Earth. It is a hyperactive Earth. It is a place where the planet is most alive, most volatile, and most energetic. Your life is the same. The areas where you feel the most fear, the most turbulence, the most magnetic confusion, those are not the places to avoid. Those are the places where the energy is stored. That business idea that terrifies you, that is a methane field of potential energy. That conversation you are afraid to have, that is a rogue wave waiting to propel you forward if you ride it instead of letting it capsize you. We are unraveling the mysteries of the earth, only to find that the earth was never hiding anything. It was simply waiting for us to develop the tools to see it. We needed sonar to see the craters. We needed satellites to see the clouds. What tools are you lacking? You lack the sonar of self-awareness. You lack the satellite view of long-term vision. You are piloting a sophisticated vessel, the human mind. With the manual of a child. It is time to upgrade the instrument panel. The mystery is over. The fog is lifting. We know now that there are no ghosts in the machine. There is only cause and effect. There is only pressure and release. There is only the pilot and the C. The Bermuda Triangle is no longer a graveyard. It is a classroom. It teaches us that if you do not respect the laws of physics, you will be erased. But if you master them, if you learn to read the invisible currents and align your internal compass with the true north of your purpose, you become unsinkable. The scientists are looking for answers in the water. You must look for them in the mirror. The storm is rising. The waves are stacking. The air is charging. Good. Let it rain. So here's the final coordinate. The ultimate revelation. We have spent centuries fearing the Bermuda Triangle because we are terrified of being lost. We are terrified of the idea that we can be here 1 minute and gone the next, erased by a force we cannot see. But the most dangerous waters are not in the Atlantic. They are not defined by coordinates on a map. The true Bermuda Triangle is the 6 inches between your ears. That is where the magnetic variance is strongest. That is where the compass spins wild, confused by the interference of other people's opinions, other people's fears, other people's definitions of success. That is where the methane gas of procrastination builds up, waiting to swallow your potential whole. You wake up every morning in the middle of this ocean. You have a choice. You can be like Flight 19. You can let the confusion take over. You can stare at the instruments, your logic, your intuition, your skills, and convince yourself they are wrong. You can radio into the void, asking for someone else to save you, asking for permission to fly, until your fuel runs dry, and you spiral into the dark. You can be the captain who understands the storm. The captain knows that the fear is just a biological reaction to a drop in pressure. The captain knows that the turbulence is just wind, and wind can be ridden. The captain knows that when the compass spins, you look at the stars. You look at the eternal principles that do not change. Hard work, integrity, discipline, focus, *, the mystery of the earth is solved. The science is in. We know what lies beneath the waves. Now, you must solve the mystery of yourself. Stop drifting. Stop hoping the current will carry you to paradise. The current only goes one way. Down. Calibrate your compass. Define your true north. Not the magnetic north of what is popular, or what is easy, or what pays the fastest dividend. Your true north. The mission you were put on this earth to complete. Lock it in. Grip the wheel. And when the rogue wave comes, and it will come, do not turn away. Do not flinch. Throttle up. Cut through it. The vanished are forgotten. The survivors are respected. But the masters? The masters are remembered. The ocean is waiting. The signal is clear. You are cleared for takeoff.